Now we're going to talk about the pans that you use, the oils, everything that goes into creating a wonderfully seared piece of meat. What we're doing is, again, caramelizing, bringing out the natural sugar in the meat or the chicken, the fish, whatever you're using, to create a beautiful crust and a nice, juicy, tender inside. Before we get to talking about equipment, I want to quickly turn this filet that I've been searing on one side. I'm going to turn it over. You might hear that sizzle. I'm going to turn up the heat a little bit. What we've done is caramelized the top side of this piece of meat. Now, before we turned it over, I seasoned with a little bit of salt and pepper. I'm going to do it again on the top because when you're caramelizing or searing the meat, of course, I like all of that wonderful seasoning to be captured within the steak. And again, searing is done over very high heat. The trick is that the pan should be almost smoking hot before you sear. And the trick to searing, of course, has a lot to do with the equipment. Now, while this steak caramelizes on the other side, let's talk about the pans that you need to use. I'm using a cast iron skillet. That is my pan of choice when searing. One, because the cast iron skillet actually maintains its heat the best of any pan here. It also conducts the heat beautifully, so it keeps the heat at a very even temperature, and the best part about it is that it can go from the stovetop to the oven, and that's very important. This pan here, all stainless steel, you could certainly use it. The trick here is that it has an oven-proof handle. Again, just to reiterate, an oven-proof handle is what you need to go straight to the oven. You could use a grill pan just like this. It has a non-stick surface, and it would sear beautifully, give you nice grill marks, of course. And then last but not least, this pan over here, it has a plastic handle. It's non-stick, but it's for an egg, not for searing. So let's get rid of that pan. Now, secondly, the oil that you're using is very important. Again, you want to use an oil that has a high smoking point because you're using a pan that gets extremely hot. I used olive oil here. You could also use canola oil if you were watching your fat intake, or peanut oil like you would for stir frying to impart some wonderful flavor. Now, that steak is searing on both sides. It's caramelizing those outer surfaces, sealing in the juices. I want to show you exactly what searing does. Now that the other side is getting golden, I'm going to slice through this steak, and you can certainly sear on all edges. And I'm going to show you raw in the center, beautiful caramelization on the top of the steak. That's exactly what searing is. We have a beautiful crust and locked in the juice.